Okay, hi everyone. This is Kelly Schwartz and Anna Schwartz from Schwartz Consulting Group. We are so excited today to have Mr. Cameron Herold, uh, extraordinary, well sought after business mind. You know, I was looking for someone to give a different perspective of what we should be doing when business starts up. And Cameron was more than generous enough to reach out to me and say, hey, I'll help you out. So for those of you who don't know him, he's one of the best business minds around. He's run millions and millions of dollars worth of companies. I want to share with you a little bit about his background, if you will, and then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Herold. So Mr. Herold is the mastermind behind hundreds of companies with exponential growth. Cameron's built dynamic consultancy. His clients include Big Four wireless carrier and a monarchy. What do his clients say they like most about him? He isn't a theory guy. Like me, they like to think that Cameron speaks only from experience. He's earned his reputation as the business growth guru by guiding his clients to double their profit and double their revenue in just 3 years or less. Cameron was an entrepreneur from day one. At age 21, he had 14 employees. By 35, he'd built his first two $100 million companies. By the age of 42, and you don't look older than that now, Cameron, engineered 1-800's Got Junk spectacular growth from 2 million to 106 million in revenue and 3,100 employees. He did that in just 6 years. His company's landed over 5,200 media placements in the same 6 years, including coverage on Oprah. And on that note, Cameron, we used 1-800 Junk this weekend to clean our garage.
Awesome. Finally got it done.
Not only does Cameron know how to grow a business, but his delivery from any platform is second to none. The current publisher of Forbes magazine stated that Cameron Herold is the best speaker I've ever heard. He hits grand slams. When Cameron takes the stage, people listen, and he doesn't stop teaching. He's the author of global best-selling business book Double Double, and its 8th printing and his multiple translations around the world. He's also the author of top-selling books Meetings Suck, Vivid Vision, Miracle Morning for Entrepreneurs, and Free PR. Cameron's a top-rated international speaker and has been paid to speak in 26 countries. He's also the top-rated lecturer at MIT's Entrepreneurial Master Program and a powerful and effective speaker at Chief Executive Officer and Chief Operating Officer leadership events around the world. So, guys, buckle up, because I promise you, in the dental world, you haven't heard anyone like this gentleman. He's got a lot to offer, so let's listen. Mr. Herold, take it away.
Kelly, thank you very much. So first off, I know that the time that we're in right now, this industry for sure has been hit hard and that they're not able to open. So I'm very kind of empathetic to the situation that they're in and the unknowns that they're facing right now. So there's a couple things that we can talk about in terms of, and then maybe I'll let you ask some questions and we can go deeper on some areas. But one is like, what are some things that businesses can do right now when they are shut? And then secondly, you know, what are some things that we can do to maybe get ready to come out of the recession or come out of this close down period quickly? And then third, once we're reopened, what are the things that we can do to really leverage and scale our business? So the first one is like, while we're shut. So while we're shut down, all of these businesses have people that work there. Maybe they're on furlough or they're laid off for now, or maybe they're coming in and doing some basic work. And then they also have clients, customers and past customers that are just sitting there in a database. If we talk about the employees, a huge opportunity right now to grow the skill set and the capacity of your employees. You know, we never really have the time or never really take the time to grow our people. You know, Stephen Covey, back in the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People 30 years ago, talked about sharpening the saw. And right now we've got a great opportunity to grow our people's skills. So that's getting them to read books on meetings, reading books on hiring, reading books on customer engagement, watching videos on customer engagement or marketing. It's kind of picking the core areas and skill sets outside of the dental space that you really want to grow the capacity and the business aptitude and the skills of your team. So it's working on giving them books to read or chapters to read or articles to read, giving them videos to watch, having them do some online courses, and really focusing their time and energy around that right now and using this period of a month or 2 months to really grow the skill set and capacity of the people. When it comes to your customers right now, there's a huge opportunity for us to be able to engage with customers and let them know things that they can do to actually take care of their dental health or their origin, like their oral health. So it could be certain foods that they want to be staying away from, or foods that they want to be eating or digesting more of. It could be tips that we're sending out to them. It could be, online products or deals that we find for them that we want to introduce them to. Or maybe we actually set ourselves up as an affiliate for certain products that we can market to our database. Maybe it's teeth whitening products or at-home teeth cleaning products, or there's different groups out there that would happily pay 25 or 30% affiliate fees. Maybe the dental office takes their client base and sends out text messages or email messages to our client base, offering them things around dental health, and the dental firm makes a 20 or 30% referral fee. So that can be opportunities to market to the base, to help take care of the base, and also to make some money off the current database there as well. It's also an opportunity to work on our systems internally, to clean up our databases, to clean up all of our client databases, to make sure that we have all the proper fields entered, that we have all of our customers' emails and cell phones, that we're actually updating their appointment records or updating their client files. Or an opportunity to clean house, where we have an opportunity to clean through the cupboards and clean through the storage area and clean through the filing cabinets, and to purge data records and purge online records, and really take the time to actually clean house. Another opportunity is to actually upgrade our offices. It's an opportunity to get some furnishings happening, to get some paint jobs happening, to update the front office, to put some graphics up on the walls, to get the new press articles up on the walls, to throw out all the old magazines and clean up the furniture, so that when you're able to open, you're opening up into a brand new, fully designed office space. We often make the excuses that, oh, we can't take the time to clean our space because we're too busy. Well, now you're not busy, so clean up your space. As you said, you just use 1-800-GOT-JUNK to come and clean out your garage. It's because you used to be too busy to clean it out. Well, the reality is it only took you 5 minutes to point at the stuff and they hauled it all away. So often we make those excuses that we're too busy. So now that you're not too busy, clean your office, update your furnishings, put some money and some time and some elbow grease into that, and it can go a long way. When we're coming out of the downturn or coming out of this recession, I think that's the time to be heavily investing in marketing and branding. Right now, marketing is cheaper than it's ever been in our history. So whether you're doing local ads, local ad buys, local billboards, local bus benches, local radio, local print, whatever you're doing, local Google AdWords, all of that advertising is cheaper than it's ever been before. And an opportunity is to get ahead of that curve and purchase that in advance, so that you're coming out of that gate really strong. Work on redoing your website right now, redoing the copy on your website, really cleaning up and refreshing. I've coached 3 or 4 different dental groups over the years, and one that I was coaching years ago in Phoenix, I looked at his website. I'm like, dude, you suck. You're a $30 million dental group over these 16 locations, but your website looks horrible. And I walked him through and showed him all the areas that it sucked. And then I said, let's go take a look at Apple's website, and let's look at what Apple does, and then think about how do we bring that over to your brand. So there's opportunities to build out that collateral and build out that marketing that we often never have time for. And I tell you, there's all kinds of marketing agencies and ad agencies out there right now that are starving for work, that would happily do work for you, that would happily charge you 50% less than they were charging 2 months ago. So there's an opportunity to work on the business instead of in the business.
We're doing that one ourselves right now with our website.
Yeah, it's huge opportunities, right? Because we're always too busy to do stuff. Well, now that you're not busy, go do stuff. Somebody asked me the other day, what am I doing? Well, I'm learning guitar right now. Like, I've always wanted to learn guitar, and now I got more time, so I'm not traveling as much. So I'm doing guitar every single day. I'm going to do something, right? I've got a list of all the stuff that has to get done around the house. So I'm getting all that done right now. So it's the same thing with our business. It's looking for the ways to work on the business that will help us catapult out when we're able to start. And then I think it's getting things set up for your email marketing to make it stronger, getting your text marketing to be stronger, so that you're ready to actually market to all of those customers. I would be going out right now while you're slow to every single prior customer that you've had. I would email them 3 times, I would phone them 3 times, and I would text them 3 times, asking them to leave you a Google review, and leave you a Yelp review, and leave you a RateMD review, or whatever the main areas that people look at online reviews. But if you've only got 20 Google reviews, imagine if you worked really, really hard at it for a month and could get yourself to 200 Google reviews, how much stronger you're going to come out of the gate. One of my clients who's in the medical space in Arizona used to have 20 reviews on each of his medical locations. He's now up to about 600 reviews per location. And if you're looking to pick a location, him or the competition, it's like 20 reviews,
Sure.
27 reviews, 30 reviews, 600 reviews, 20 reviews. Like, of course, you're going to go to Redirect Health.
So you mentioned, cleaning out your database. So one of the tools that a lot of our dentists use is a company called Dental Intel, gives them the ability to communicate, and they have treatment plans and everything in there. So they can go within their software and start cleaning that up. So when they come back, they got better information. And then that combination, we work with the parent company called Local Med, which gives them the ability to give patients to schedule online. But what is your thought on, I reach out to a patient, say, hey, would you mind giving us a review during the downtime? I mean, I haven't seen them in weeks at least. You feel like that's a good thing to do, to reach out to them and say, hey, now that you have the downtime, would you mind writing a review on us? Is that your recommendation?
Exactly. Yeah. Like we're looking, we're going through a tough time right now. It would be really helpful if you would write a review for us so we can come out of this really strong. Everybody really wants to help right now. It's 7 o'clock. We're all out there banging our pans, cheering on the healthcare workers. We can go to them and say, hey, we're a healthcare worker that can't operate right now. It would be really awesome if you could leave us a Google review today and a Yelp review today. We'll send you the links right now. And if you can push to get 5 or 10 a day, 5 or 10 a day, 5 or 10 a day, boy, oh boy, you're going to come out of the gates really strong. And that could be a divide and conquer. That could be hiring a bunch of 16-year-olds to make phone calls for you. Or it could be getting all your office staff to make 30 phone calls a day. And then sending out batch emails and batch texts. But the key is to really set a goal. And to go from like 20 reviews from 30, it's not even worth being in business. But to go from 20 reviews to 300 reviews, that's a quantum shift in your business right now that you're not going to have time for when you reopen, but you do have time right now to scale it up. And that becomes an ongoing, perpetual, lift in your business because those reviews are always there.
That's an awesome idea, Cameron. That's worth its weight in gold right there. I haven't heard anyone talk about doing that. We always push for reviews, and after their visit, we always ask them to. But even then, the patient's busy just as we are. And I think with the change in the last 3 weeks, the online business, and we've even noticed ourselves when we make a post, we get more responses than we ever did because everybody's glued to their phone and technology. So that's
everybody's got more time. And if you ask for help, people are more willing to give that help right now. But again, if you think like how many customers does the average dental office have?
1,500 to an average size practice to 5,000.
Right. So there's no reason why they shouldn't have at least 10% of their customers leaving a review. That's anywhere between 150 and 500 reviews per location. Irresponsible of them not to make that happen right now. Anyone who can't make that happen right now loses the right to say it's about a recession or a downturn. It's actually about their apathy and not willing to do the work. No one owes us anything in business. Nobody owes you the right to stay open. Right now we're closed. What are you going to do about it? So I always say, put on your big boy pants and let's drive this part of the business forward. Huge opportunity though for everybody.
Okay.
But then it's once the doors are open, what are we going to do? We really have to turn up the love with our clients. We really have to really over care for them, over love them, and show them that we're going to be responsible. Tell them we're taking care of the precautions. Dentists always wear masks and gloves. So we're wearing masks and gloves. If you want a set, we'll give them to you when you come in, whatever. But we're safe, we're taking our precautions, and you need to get your stuff cleaned. You don't want this to turn into a bigger issue. You don't want your dental, oral health to turn into a bigger issue. So come on in and get her done.
We've always preached, and one of my quotes is, you've got to treat every patient like they're your only patient or they will be. So I like your turn up the love, and the giving the mask. One of the things we talked about too, because, cleanliness and sterilization is going to be a big thing. We talked about even getting a table tent printed that this room has been sterilized above expectations on your behalf, and placing it right in the chair. So when the patient sits down, they see that there's been extra attention given to them.
Sure. And the other part of this is, in about a month or two after opening, most of the fear is going to go away. For the most part, people are going to go on with their busy lives. It's kind of like, I'll give you a couple of examples, but don't we remember when the impeachment was in all the news?
Right.
And what about when Australia was burning and everybody was freaking about Australia and the poor little koalas? And then before that, the Amazon was burning, and then it was SARS. And it's like, this is just the current fear that's been whipped up into the frenzy. But sooner or later, we're all going to go back to our real lives. We're all going to be more busy about, does somebody like my shirt? I hope they think my haircut looks okay. Or my hair extension's too short. Like, people were just going to go on with their normal lives at some point. So I think it's for us, it's about really over loving our customers, really making sure that we're taking care of our customers, and then generating that referral and rebooking and, you know, getting the advanced bookings happening. And sooner or later, it's going to turn again.
Okay. You mentioned getting the teams to read or watch or study. And in a lot of cases, you know, the staff are on furlough or laid off. In some cases, the doctors are bringing them back and paying them, and we're bringing them in shifts. What would be your number one book to recommend to the service industry of dentistry? And it's a close knit between service and healthcare, but it's all about treating people the right way. So what would be?
I would say Raving Fans by Ken Blanchard.
Yep. Read that several times.
Tony Hsieh has a book on customer service that's really strong. I'm struggling with the name of it at this point off the top of my head, but yeah, I would go on Raving Fans, probably the one I'd jump at.
Okay.
But again, it doesn't even have to be a book. You could also go online and find 4 great videos about customer service. You could find 2 TED Talks and 2 other videos and send them to them. And you know what? Some of the employees aren't going to watch it, but at least then we know who the ones are that aren't that bought in. But you might find that some of the people are at home, they will watch it.
So I'm a fan of, you know, I think this has been a wake up for America, because in dentistry as a whole, for the most part, they work 9 to 5, Monday through Thursday. That's not the normal world. Everybody else works 7 days a week, or, you know, nights, weekends, etc. I'm a big believer that the level of service of just showing up and doing your job are not going to be enough moving forward. I think people who are truly invested are going to have to commit all in and give more than they've ever given.
It's actually never been enough. The reason that most people are in the kind of 9 to 5 jobs making the normal middle class or lower middle class lifestyle income is because that's what they're putting into it. But when you make yourself indispensable, when you come to the table as a learner and self-learning, when you come to the table self-driven, when you come to the table with marketing ideas, you all of a sudden become indispensable to the business. Like, I coached a group in Edmonton and Calgary that have got 16 locations called Dental Choice. And he's got some of his women that have worked with him for probably 15 years, but they've made themselves, like, God forbid they ever quit. But they come to the table giving it their extra and caring about the company and thinking about the company and working on growing their own skill set and engaging with customers. And sure enough, they get paid more. And then the
Right.
business grows and they get paid more again, or they get promoted. But I think that's a mindset that, yes. And I think the business isn't difficult. We make it difficult by hiring very average people and then trying to get great results from average people. If you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. But if you hire the right people and you give them the right environment and then you grow those people, they're going to grow your business as well. And that's across any industry.
So one of the, you know, kind of brings up a thing that right now, there are obviously going to be some staff members who don't want to come back. There are some that are being, they're enjoying the unemployment and being paid for a fraction. But any tips on hiring, or tips that you've learned along the lines on hiring better than average staff? Because in some areas, it's very difficult to find a qualified person at all.
No, that's not true. It's actually very easy to find really great qualified people as long as you have a really great company. But if your company's average, then it's hard because you're only able to find average as your best. So your brand has to be better than the average, has to be better than others in your industry. Your website has to be better than others in your industry. Your physical office space needs to look and feel better than others. You need to get rid of the assholes. You need to fire the grumpy, negative receptionist who's really your director of first impression.
Preach.
So it's actually, it's not hard at all to find great people, but great people won't work for an average company.
So you're basically saying great people attract great people, right?
Yeah, well, here's one of the shifts that I'm seeing now in the dental space. And the dentists that hate me for this, they'll never work with me anyway, so I don't really care. But if they understand it, it'll make sense. The era of calling a dentist doctor or calling a doctor doctor is kind of over. That's the bullshit corner office, brass and wood corner office of the 1970s, when you'd never go into the CEO's office. God forbid you talk to the president of the company. Now kids are walking right in. The parents are calling, going, my kid's not happy at work. Like, doctors and dentists should be called by their first name. They're Fred and Mary just like the rest of us.
Yeah.
And I think the ones that are winning are the dentists that actually say, don't call me Dr. So-and-so, call me Kelly.
Yeah.
I'm just Kelly.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the peers have been trained to call them doctor. They're okay with calling him Kelly because they know he's a human too. And then it makes them feel closer. And then the customers aren't intimidated by this Dr. So-and-so. And by the way, we never see our dentist anyway. We don't go to the dentist. We go to our dental hygienist.
Right.
The dentist appears for 32 seconds. The hygienist is with us for the hour. So, but if we're going to see Fred and Kelly, then we're closer to them as people. We're building a human connection.
Right.
You know, if I said to you, like, Steve was one of the best leaders in the world, who am I talking about?
Right.
Right? Steve
Steve Jobs.
Right? Or if I said, you know, Elon's one of the biggest thinkers, or Richard is one of the most charismatic leaders, or Bill is just a fantastic guy, or Jeff,
Yeah.
you know who we're talking about.
Yep.
You don't call them Mr. Bezos and Mr. Gates and Mr. Jobs.
That's why Madonna's Madonna, right?
Bingo, because she understood how to attach and connect with the front line with her team as a person. And I think the brands that do well in dentistry are going to be the ones that let go of the 1970s, the 1980s, the degree on the wall, which none of that shit matters. What really matters is the human connection between me and you, the human connection with you and the team, the human connection with the team and the customers. And that happens by turning the reception desk sideways so we're sitting talking to each other, lowering the reception desk down so that it's not like a huge counter that I have to look over top of, but it's humanizing the space and making it more modern. And almost, what would your dental office look and feel like if Apple owned it today? It sure as fuck wouldn't look like the ones from the 1970s.
Right. I grew up, and right out of college, I worked for Marriott Corporation and learned customer service from what I consider the best in the business. And one of the things, I spend about 180 nights a year on the road traveling. One of the things that I talk to a lot of our dental offices are, noticeably, when you go to the newer, more upbeat front desks, they no longer have a front desk. They have an island. So it's more interactive, and the person doesn't point their way to the elevator. They come around the counter and show you. And I'm a big proponent of not having the sliding glass doors and the limitness. You want to be open, approachable, and interact. So I love that you're seeing that.
And I think that's the stuff that is going to take these businesses into the future, is breaking the mold of what dentistry has been and deciding what they want their business to be. You know, the old computer store was stuff on shelves, kind of dirty, kind of weird geeky guys walking around that couldn't really help you. And then you had to go stand in line and pay at a cashier. Apple said, no way. Apple was like clean, modern, no cashier. Everybody can cash you out because they've all got a phone.
Right.
Like they just broke the model.
Right.
You know, Tesla decided they weren't going to have car dealerships. They were going to only sell. I bought my Tesla Model S P90D, $130,000 car. I purchased it off the internet without having test driven one.
Wow.
Picked it out. It got delivered. Bob's your uncle. They just said, we don't want to be like other car dealerships. We don't want to be like other car companies. I think that people in the dentistry industry that are going to win are the ones that get ahead of the curve and say, we want to connect with our people as people. We want to connect with our customers as customers. We want to be more like Gen Y and less like the industry that we were trained in. And it's hard. It's hard because they worked so hard for so many years to get that degree. But it's from the movie Taps. It's like, no one will respect the title. They'll only respect the man. And they were talking about this guy in the military school, that the other leaders weren't going to respect him just because he had a certain title on his uniform. They were going to respect the person.
Right.
And the dentist doesn't get respect because he's a doctor. The dentist gets respect because he's Bob and he's a good guy and he gives a shit about us and he laughs and he goes for coffee and he's just a human. And when you can connect with Bob, you tell all your friends about how great this dentist office is because Bob's my dentist. My favorite dentists were Henry and PJ. PJ I played ultimate frisbee with. Henry, his parents owned the ski hill that I grew up at. I never knew them as Dr. Darling and Dr. Mosier.
Okay.
That would have been weird.
Right.
So when I'm like, oh, you should call my dentist PJ. And then when you go in, you know what PJ would say? Hi, my name's PJ.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I always say that nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And it is all about relationships. And one of the things that Anna and I teach is that, you know, you need to know the basics on on your patients. I call it getting the form. Understand their family, their occupation, their recreation, so you understand their motivation. So I call it getting the form. And when I know about your kids' names are, you know, Logan and Kylie, and your dog's name is Smiley, and you know, you work as a dental consultant, and you know, your hobbies are, you know, poker and bingo or whatever it may be, and I can talk about things that are important to the patient, then when I give you advice, you're more willing to follow, because we have that relationship as Kelly or as Cameron, but not as Mr. Herold or Mr. Schwartz. I mean, Mr. Schwartz was my dad.
Well, and I want to go down I want to go down the next layer as well, which is to say that knowing the dog's name and their kid's name is kind of like saying, I'm going to have a coffee shop and play jazz. All coffee shops play jazz. Oh, I'm going to serve food. Yeah, they all serve food as well. So it's actually knowing your customers. It's knowing their fears, their insecurities, their joys, their passions. It's knowing what's going on in their lives and making that human connection. And you can't have that human connection when it's about titles and big desks and process. We've got to break through a little bit of that to really increase the human connection.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest changes, and you know, I'm looking at it from not like, how are we going to get through this, but how are we going to change to get through this?
Yeah.
And in that process, I don't think practices should be coming back and expecting to turn on the faucet and it to be a fire hydrant. I think they have to be looking at it and saying, how are we going to become a better fire hydrant?
Yeah, and completely reinventing themselves, right? Understanding that the underlying product is the same. We still do dentistry.
Right.
But it's like, how are we going to connect with our customers? How are we going to connect with our employees? What are we going to deal with our space? And we have the time to spend thinking about that right now.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
dentists should go and visit. I just did this year. It was extraordinary. 20 new coffee shops in Vancouver. And I'll tell you
right now, Vancouver.
Yeah, Vancouver and Scottsdale. But what was really interesting was in Vancouver, I'd always gone to the same 2 coffee shops. And then my girlfriend was like, let's go explore, go to a new coffee shop. So we did. And then the next day we went to a new one. The next day, and I'm like, why are we always going to a new one? She goes, I don't know. Let's go check them out.
Right.
So we literally just started, we checked out 20 new coffee shops. They all have very different flavors and feels and foods. But boy, you learn from that.
Right.
And I wonder if dentists would learn from walking into 50 other businesses and thinking about, what can I take from this one? Or looking at a bunch of different websites outside of their industry and saying, what can I take from this one? And it's one of the reasons why I believe mastermind groups are so important, and being in 2 mastermind groups, one that's industry focused and one that's non-industry focused and more about general business and opportunity, like leadership and marketing, is because it's ideas having sex. It's pulling an idea from a marketing guy and a manufacturing guy and a doctor and a physiotherapist and a digital marketer, and those ideas coming up into something else.
Right.
But when we're always just in our industry, we get stuck in that niche.
And that's where, you know, Anna and I have always tried to look outside of the box and not just dental, which is one of the reasons we reached out to you. And I really, again, appreciate your time today, is we wanted our clients in all the dental industry, if you will, to hear from outside expert like yourself that looks at overall, you know, customer experience. And again, dentistry is what we do, but people come to you because of the relationship they have with your team. They're never going to walk out of the office and say, wow, that's the best crown you ever did. They're going to walk out and say, man, did Dr. Herold or Cameron take great care of me? And so did his team. And I think that's where teams have to focus on, is how can you improve the overall customer experience, not clinical dentistry. I've always joked that, you know, if you're the best clinician and you say, I did this perfect margin and everything fits perfect and looks, you know, exactly matching, and have a nice day, and that's it. Me on the other side say, hey, Cameron, you know, it's good to see you. How's your girlfriend doing? Check out those new coffee shops. And by the way, I left that margin wide open and I made the tooth 3 shades whiter than normal so everyone can see it's a new tooth. Have a great day. The patient's going to walk out and say, man, Kelly's a better doctor, even though Cameron's a better clinician, because of the relationship.
Yeah.
So a very, very, very big point. what else do you feel our doctors should be looking at as they, right now the dates are, 30 days out. They're still struggling.
Yeah, one is thinking about the vision of what they're building, and really, I would highly encourage all of them to read two of my books. One that I would read is Double Double, and the first chapter of Double Double talks about this concept of a vivid vision, where they lean out 3 years into the future and describe their company and how it looks like, acts like, and feels like 3 years out. I would encourage all of them to craft a vivid vision for what their business looks like, so that their employees and teams and customers and suppliers get excited about what they're building in the future. That would be one. The second is I would really encourage them to think about why they're building this business. At some point, everyone will have an exit. They're either going to sell the business or they're going to die, but they will exit the business. Or they'll give it to their kids, or they'll be, I want them to think about what are they building and what is their transition going to be? Is it to be acquired? Are they going to do a roll up to sell? Are they going to join or partner with others? Are they just building this into retirement? But they have to think of this as a business, and most of them haven't had the business training. It's good that they're involved with someone like you, because they start seeing their dental practice as a business as well.
Right. Yeah, I think from an entrepreneurial side, there's going to be a lot of doctors who, for lack of a better word, are going to get to buy up mom and pop's coffee shop and become a Starbucks brand if they choose to, because there are going to be some doctors who are not prepared enough to weather this storm, and they're going to have the opportunity to go from one location to 2 to 3, or bring another business under their business and pick up that patient base.
I think there's going to be a very, very big opportunity for a lot of dentists to roll up a lot of the baby boomer dentists that are older and tired now and just don't have it in them anymore. They got wiped, they got hurt in the 2001 correction, they got hurt in the 2008 correction, and they just don't have another 5 years in them to be building this thing. They'll probably sell their practice, stay on for 1 or 2 years and take 30% over time, and just be happy to get out. So I think there's a big opportunity for people to do the roll-ups, the consolidations.
So my wife, Anna, and my partner, one of the questions she wanted me to ask was, what is your take on getting confused with all the outside noise and things that are going on? How do you turn it off and stay focused to your true goal?
Well, the one is to really craft that vivid vision, so I'm very, very clear on what I'm building and why I'm building it and what it looks like, so that I can say no to the wrong things and say yes to the right things. Second is by just reverse engineering that, so I constantly have that quarterly and 1 year or 1 month plan that I'm building towards. And third is just forcing yourself to externalize a lot of that outward noise and recognize that, I'll give you an example. Facebook has only been around for 13 years. I was one of the earliest adopters of Facebook. I started using it in May of 2007, and people at 1-800-GOT-JUNK thought I was having a Facebook account. So it's only been around. Prior to that, let's say when the AIDS epidemic hit in the early mid-'80s, you either heard it on TV on the news, or you read about it in the newspaper, or you saw it in the magazine, and then you went about your day.
Right.
And maybe somebody mentioned it over coffee or dinner, but you only heard it or read about it 2 or 3 times, maybe. But now we're getting bombarded with it 100 to 250 times per day. So our dopamine receptors are being fed with all of this scary, scary news. But the reality is it's really not that bad out there. Like, if you think as an example, in British Columbia, where I am in the province of BC, there's about 3,000 cases in British Columbia. Well, that means there's also 5.1 million people that don't have it.
Yeah.
Like, I could run around downtown Vancouver and hug and kiss everybody all afternoon, and I'm not going to catch it.
Yeah.
In the entire state of Arizona, there's 3,400 cases, and there's 7 million people that don't have it.
Right.
So I think unless you're in a big hotspot, it's kind of like, go back to work and stop worrying about the stuff that you can't control. It's control the controllables.
Right. My good friend
I'll read. Have you ever heard of the Serenity Prayer?
I have.
So the Serenity Prayer that's used in a lot of the 12-step programs: God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Well, guess what? You can't change the whole COVID-19 and coronavirus stuff. There's probably nothing you can do about it. So let's let it go. Let's understand that it's there, and let's control the stuff that we can control. Our brand, our growth, our customers, our mindset, our decor, our office space, our, control the controllables.
Our friend Weston Lunsford, he's the CEO of Local Med Dental Intel that I work a lot with, and their company's been really instrumental in giving back to the dental industry and helping, offering CE and so forth. One of his thoughts in me preparing to interview with you today, and I can't thank you, but he's really big on serving and giving back to others, and even getting the team in the office involved in being a servant in some way and giving back. Any thoughts or feedback on that?
Yeah, I think that, like, when you actually contribute to other people and give to other people, it just makes you feel good. Someone the other day said, "What's the first thing you're going to buy? First bit of clothes you're going to buy if you had $1,000?" And I said, "I'd probably buy the homeless some clothes because I don't really need any more."
Right.
Like, the reality is, like, what do I need more clothes? There's probably all these homeless. I'll go buy them some clothes for $1,000. I don't need any more stuff.
Yeah.
Doing your 5-minute journal in the mornings and writing down what you're grateful for first thing in the day. Like, what are 3 things you're grateful for? I saw a really interesting note about a year ago, and it was a woman who said, "I am grateful for all of the crumbs under my dining room table because it means my kids are still at home with me.
Yep.
I'm grateful for my husband's clothes that are scattered around the bedroom because it means we're still married.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for the lights turned on in every room because my kids are still at home.
Yeah.
Like, I'm grateful for the huge shopping list that I have because it means I have friends coming over for dinner." Like, there's so much for us to be grateful for. And I think giving to other people really helps drive that as well.
Yeah. I had one of my friends was talking about it's all relative in the sense that he was complaining because his upstairs air conditioner was broken, and something with the garage, when there's people in third world countries that don't have a home, but we've got a home for our car, that's better. And we've got 2 air conditioners, not 1. And and again, like you said, that being, what are we thankful for and what are we grateful for? And I think that's something Weston shared with me too, is I think every morning he gets up and writes 3 or 4 things that he's grateful for every day. And
yeah.
I had one of my doctors is doing a great thing. He's paying his team to be home and do nothing, but he's asking them to donate half that amount of time back to charity at a later point. So basically, if I pay you for 8 hours to be home, we give 4 hours back serving their community, which I thought was a phenomenal idea. It doesn't have to be now, but at some point, take your family out and work at a food bank or pick up trash on the highway or donate your time somewhere to someone who's needed. So
right. And it can just be a company challenge where we all share on our company Facebook group or our Slack channel, or we share with each other over video or over email what we're doing to give back in our community. It's just like a great little small, the 6 of us are doing something, or the 12 of us, or the 12 families, whatever.
Sure. One of my friends, I can hear him hollering in my ear if I don't ask this question, but he's a big fan of Instagram as opposed to Facebook. Any preferences on that, or are they both the same to you?
No, they're very different. They have very different audiences. If you think about Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, all have very, very different audiences. So Facebook is about community and has moved up market into largely women and largely 35 to 65-year-olds are the predominant kind of group on Facebook. Instagram is probably more like 65% women, and it drops down in the age group. It drops down to like the 25-year-old to 55-year-old females, 25 to 50-year-olds even.
And the females are the decision makers in dentistry and healthcare.
Right. And then TikTok is kind of the
new thing.
Well, it's the 13 to 40-year-olds right now are adopting on that. And then LinkedIn is all business people. So it's just understanding what those platforms are. For the most part, nobody really gives a shit about listening to their dentist on any social platform. That's a really wasted, I think, a very wasted energy and time suck for dentists who think they're marketing. No one's listening to you. We're not going on Instagram to learn about taking care of my teeth.
Yeah, we're going on Instagram. Well, the thought process, at least in the industry with any of this, has been a form of communicating and relationship. I'm an encourager about getting to know you, not what color toothbrush to buy.
But again, if you want to engage with your customers, you have to ask them, is that where they want to engage? And my customers don't really want to be talking about their dental health on Instagram.
Understood.
But we don't.
Cameron?
Like that's somebody that's very we're thinking about why we should sell to them there, but we're not thinking about do they actually want to hear from us there.
Great point. Cameron, do you offer courses for, I know you are typically the CEO, second in charge in high-end companies, but for the average dentist that, isn't in that executive league, but yet they're an executive in their own right, do you have mastermind group or courses that they could participate in? And if you get me that information, I'd love to get it out there, and maybe we get a mastermind group going for dentists and others.
Yeah, the places that I have that exist are if they do at least 5 million in revenue, their second in command can join the COO Alliance.
Which would only be a 0.5% of the dentists out there.
Correct. And then other than that, it's my 5 books that they probably should be reading, and also my second in command podcast. They can get some great ideas off the second in command podcast. But no, my level of coaching, I only coach clients that do 5 million or more in revenue, the COO Alliance. That's why mine tend to be 50 to 500 employees tend to be my zone.
Well, we're so thankful to have you today and for your knowledge and your time. I know you're a world-renowned, sought-after speaker, and small company like me couldn't afford to even bring you in. I can't, thank you enough. And for those of you who are listening, I responded and, hey, I'm trying to look for someone who can help me out. And Cameron pinged me back at like 11:30 at night. I was so excited I couldn't sleep that night that Cameron said, yeah, you know what? I'll give you some of my time. So I want to respect your time. I know you've got another meeting.
Because what you said was that you wanted to give some of the tools and ideas to all of these dentists that were hurting right now. And I'm like, that's something I can do. Like,
wow.
So you asked for the right reasons. It wasn't about you. You actually wanted me to come on this for them. And that was why I said yes. If it was to be on your show for you, I would have said no, but because you were fighting for them, that's why I wanted to do this.
Well, we really, on behalf of the dentists that I can say, thank you for your time today. I want to really respect that and let you go on to your next meeting. But I hope to reconnect with you on some level at some point again, Cameron. Your input has just been extremely valuable. So
thank you, Kelly. Thanks very much for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you.